Salute family. Tank Commander Zulu back at you once again in the Real Man Movement. Today, we did an interview with Dawud Abdullah of the youth football team called the Dogs. Another real man who works inside of the community, giving back by contributing his time and his skill sets to the youth. As we continue to dig inside of our community and find real men, this interview emphasizes what a real man should be. One who pours back into his community, as we all should, at one level or another. Enjoy this video. Check out the content. Listen to what's being said. Tank Commander Zulu, fire in the hole, baby. Right.
We might actually do something.
Right.
But
So we're going to go ahead and try to get into it. I'm going to
fine.
let you know when to start over there. We're going to get started. I'm going to start off like I kind of do it a little organically.
Absolutely.
Let it just flow, man. Once again, like I said, I put together this thing called the Real Man Movement.
Absolutely.
And what it deals with is the empowerment of men, and particularly in the black community, but men of all cultures, rightfully taking their place back in society where they should be.
Yes, sir.
And particularly with family, with responsibility and accountability, right?
That's a big one right there. Accountability is a big one.
Yeah, go ahead, start now. You can start now.
Accountability is a big one.
Right, right. And so with those are some of the areas that I want to cover. And I want to talk a little bit about what you've been doing in the community. You were my son coach for like, what, 3-4 years, I
Yes,
think
sir.
it was. So
Yes, sir.
I got the opportunity to observe you and see how you really interact with the children. And I'm grateful for how you really respond to them because I know my son, for one, definitely learned a lot of things
Appreciate that.
from your interaction. It's a positive black man in the community, giving his time and pouring back into the community instead of just trying to take from the community.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna go ahead and start. And your name again? I know it's we call you Dawud.
That's
but
it. That's actually it. Dawud Abdullah.
You just want to go, okay, Dawud Abdullah.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
we'll go with that then. We'll get ready to start.
Yes, sir.
All right. Salute family. Tank Commander Zulu back at you once again in the Real Man Movement. Today I'm here with Dawud Abdullah.
Yes, sir.
And he's a special man in the community, a real man in the community, one that gives back his time to the youth. He coaches several different teams, several different sports. I know one of them is football for sure because my son, Isaiah Williams, this was his coach for 4 years. And I got the opportunity to observe him, his character, which is very honorable and worthy of imitation, and what he does in the community and give back and teaching these children. So today, here with Coach Abdullah. How you doing, brother? Dawud, we call him Dawud.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Brother
sir.
Dawud.
Yes, sir.
We're going to dive off into the conversation here. Anything you want to go ahead and put out? Give us a little bit of information about yourself before we get into things.
Okay. Like you said, Dawud Abdullah is who I am. I coach the KC Dogs. Dogs have been around since 2008. I started it after coaching in a suburban league for like 4 or 5 years, and I felt my community needed me more than the suburban league did.
Right.
I mean, I live in the community, so I wanted to coach in the community. So with my 3 sons, actually I have 4 sons, but 3 of them played ball for me. My eldest son was done by that time.
Right.
With them, I took those guys and started my program with them.
Right.
And built around those guys. No accolades for my boys. My boys were gritty. They were linemen.
Right.
They were
Right.
linemen. And we wasn't trying to be pretty boys. They wanted to
Right.
hit somebody and play defense. And that's what we did.
Right.
So I started that program with one team. That was a 4th and 5th grade team. And they actually did pretty good. And after that year, we jumped off and brought out 3 more teams. So we had a total of 4 teams that second year, and it was great. I mean, it wasn't about winning championships or anything like that. It was about developing young men.
Right.
You can ask my youngest son's team. They were probably the most talented team that I'd ever coached.
Right.
They never played in their age group. They always played up.
Right.
So
Right.
a few years after they stopped playing with me, And my nephew's age group, they're sophomores now. They won a couple of back-to-back championships.
Right.
But they got to play in their age group. So the boys that were older than them, that first team that I had, they always look back and say, if we would have played in our age group, we could have won some championships too. I was like, but look at y'all. Out of 24 kids from that first team, 13 of those boys went to college on scholarship.
Wow, that's wonderful, man. That's wonderful.
Like I said, for me, it's not about the wins. It's honestly about the development of the boys, trying to show them a positive, like you said, a positive male role model from our community. Like you said, I coached in the suburban league, and I felt my neighborhood needed it.
Right.
So that's why I'm down on 27th Street.
Yes, sir. You know, you said some interesting things there, and I myself am a coach, a wrestling coach.
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
And I try my best to pour back into the community the most I can as well. One of the challenges, and I want to talk about some challenges we have as men, in particular black men in the community, trying to positively pour back into our community through the venue of sports.
Yes, sir.
I know some of the things I run into, and I just want to be very transparent about what I'm talking about. The area of brokenness that really resides in families. When we try to go and pull these young men back, pull them up and try to get them interacted in the sports and try to build some type of positive character in them, sometimes you get a little bit of resistance, negative resistance from the parents.
This
right?
is true.
And I don't want to just speak from my perspective. I know that can be a challenging thing, and it can be kind of taxing on your nerves. But what's your opinion on that? I mean, what was your experience as far as getting negative pushback, and it may not be directly, but maybe even indirectly some kind of way, in the area of cooperation or not understanding why you're trying to motivate this child the way you're trying to motivate him? What's your thoughts on that, brother?
I have a lot of thoughts on it.
Yes, sir.
As far as challenges goes, I'll address that first. One of the biggest challenges, honestly, is our community not investing in our children. And what I mean by that, I'm not even talking about financial. I'm talking about the time. They want to look at me as a babysitter.
Right.
I've already raised my sons. I want to help you raise your sons. I've already raised mine. My youngest son will be 21 this year. All of my boys are either they're graduating from college or they've tried college and say, hey, it's not for me. Right. They go into the community and they work, right?
Right.
So when I say invest in our children, spend that time. Don't ask your child did he win today. That's not the biggest focus.
That's right.
That is not the biggest focus. Ask your child, what did he learn today? Did he enjoy what he was doing? Because they'll do better if they enjoy it, right? And the enjoyment part comes not only from the coaches, but it comes from the parents, reinforcing what the coaches are doing. We don't have that handshake anymore where what I do at practice is not reinforced at home. I want to reinforce the discipline that you have at home at practice. So if your child is struggling in school, let me know. Let's communicate. We have a hard time communicating our issues.
The village concept.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So we have a hard time communicating. Or if they're struggling for whatever reason, let somebody know.
Right.
We're here as coaches. We are here to help, right?
Right.
I can't help unless you allow me to help. One, and if I can't help somebody who don't want the help.
That's true.
Is what I'm saying.
Right.
The other thing is, I also have financial issues where my wife she's angry with me every year. She is angry with me every year because I'm paying for other people's children.
Right.
I am literally paying for other people's children. So when you did what you did earlier, that allowed somebody else to play.
Yes, sir.
It really did. And I don't know if I told you that, but I appreciate that.
Oh, well, no
I really do. I mean, for some it may not be a big deal, but for some others it is. Yeah. You know, so I mean, those are a couple of the challenges. And then you have the parent who doesn't want you to discipline their child.
Right.
This is a young black man. The world is already against them.
That's right.
Especially this country is already against them.
That's true.
You know, so we need to give them every opportunity. We need to afford them every opportunity that we can. So if discipline, again, the village concept, if I have to discipline your child, I may need that support. Say, hey, such and such, little Johnny, is having a bad day at school. Okay, we'll bring him to me. I'll have him do some hills. We'll let him watch his teammates practice. We'll hold him out of practice. He'll do push-ups on the side. Coaches will communicate with him and try to get him to understand where he's failing, what he needs to understand. If I can't get that same respect where he's being disrespectful to other children or the coaches, you're not giving me that same respect that I would give you.
Right.
So we're failing our sons that way.
That's right.
And we want to defend our kids, right? But before we defend, we need to make sure that we understand why we are defending them against whatever the coach is saying or whatever the adult is saying.
Right.
Hear the other side. Understand. We jump to conclusions and we want to. Well, little Johnny didn't do this. I know he didn't.
Right.
I know little Johnny.
Oh yeah. Get
Well,
that
honestly, you may not know him as well as you think you do. You know, so like, and again, I love that you said the village concept.
Yes.
Because if we can get back to that,
Right.
our young men will be stronger. And our families will become stronger as well.
That's right. You know, brother, when I talk to brothers like yourself, I mean, I always feel hopeful.
Yes, sir.
You know, even though we're living in a time where it seems hopeless, in particular in the black community,
Oh, my goodness.
community with our young black men. And I'm not saying our young black females are part of the destruction as well, but I mean, our young black men in particular seem like there's a target on them, you know?
Oh, it absolutely
And
is.
we have a responsibility. Our generation and the generations even that comes after us have a responsibility to be able to pass on something solid and something of substance, right?
Absolutely.
I want to talk about discipline, right? Because one of the things that I deal with when I'm trying to pour into youth, like you said earlier, I'm raising my children. You know, I'm doing the best I can to make sure that they have a positive male role model in their life. I want you to talk a little bit, if you would, about discipline and the positive effects of having that positive male role model in their life. I understand that, you know, we have a lot of brokenness, so you have a lot of times, I know I run into it with kids, a lot of times it's the mother brain.
Yeah.
It's the mother trying to do everything.
Yeah.
Really trying to stand in a place where a man should possibly be standing, you know. But she's doing the best she can, and not to take nothing from her, but when we get the opportunity to be leaders in the community, because you are a leader, to me your job is just as important as a city councilman.
Absolutely.
And that's just the truth, because actually you're more connected to what's real.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the difference to me. So when I talk about, I want you to talk about a little bit about how important it is to have that positive male role model in that young man's life, and how important it is to be able to instill discipline from where you are.
Yes, sir.
You know, you may not be the father, but you still are a positive male influence. So let's talk about that a little bit, if you would, sir.
I'll give you an example, two different examples of the discipline aspect. And you're absolutely right. I won't say 100%, I won't say 90%, but about 70% of the time, it is the mother who's bringing. And a lot of times that
The
mother that's
majority
bringing
of the time,
is it's a single mother. The father is unavailable.
That's what
So, and that's when it is incumbent upon us, the men in charge, I call us the gatekeepers, because
great title.
Because we have to bring those young men into our bosom, and hug them and give them love that a young man should have from another man. You know, mama's love is amazing. It's unconditional. But the love of your father,
Come on now.
is one thing that a young man needs to have. Because of the way, I hate doing this, but because the way our country is, it broke our families.
Sure did.
It broke our families. Fathers don't know who their children are because they were.
Well, you can go ahead and say it. Slavery was. You got. Just go ahead and say
Yes,
it, because
sir.
this is that kind of channel.
Yes, it is. Slavery broke our families.
Right.
Because you no longer have that father for this one household,
Right.
and that mentality is embedded in us.
Right.
Because of that, it broke us as black men because we were taken away from this family. We were shipped over here and had to start another family. Broken from that family and shipped over here to start another family.
Right.
So we have that in us to spread our seed, right? But we lost the grow our seed part of it. We plant the seed, but now we need to grow it, right? So that mother that is doing everything that she possibly can to grow that man's seed that he implanted in her, she's alone. So one mom, I won't say any names, but this season, a mom came to me and she was saying, Coach, I don't want to pull him from the team, but he's not doing what I need him to do. All I ask him to do is I need him to do his chores and his homework. He's we used to call a latchkey kid because she works, he goes to school. When she gets home, he gets home first and he has chores, right? And he's not doing it. Coach, I need to pull. Ma'am, I understand your struggle. I do. So let's not pull him. Maybe let's suspend some of his luxuries that he has at home. Have him come to work. We do extra work at work. Coaches here, we have coaches that are actual teachers. So if he's struggling, coach will help him with whatever issue he has. Coach is certified. He can do that. She brought him to practice. Suspended all his luxuries at home, his games, his phones, all that's gone. Right? He was struggling in school. This was just this year. He come to practice. The first part of practice, he's on the bench with coach, working, doing his homework, watching his teammates practice. 3-4 weeks later, ask mom, is there any improvement? Coach, thank you. And it's just that because, again, he doesn't have that at home. It's just mom.
Right.
It's just mom.
Right.
It's just the two of them.
Right.
And that interest that we as men took in him, talking to him, telling him, hey, we love you. We want the best for you.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And that's another thing. We can't be afraid to tell our young black men that we love them.
Go ahead now. That's right, brother. That's right.
I mean, that was one thing. I'm growing up. My dad, he never said it. He never said it. I had to love my mom. My dad was there, but for whatever reason, he never said it. It's okay. I made it a rule to say it to my sons every day. Whenever they leave me, they leave my son Elijah. When I told you he was going to Minnesota, say, hey man, go on with that. We don't do that. That's his thing to me.
Right.
But I still tell him. But I still tell him. So
let me ask you a quick question. Not to really interrupt you, but I want to interject. Do you feel that you were disconnected from your father because of that? Not saying he didn't love you, but the fact that he didn't say, "Look, son, I love you."
Yeah, I didn't. The honest, the real is he wasn't my biological father, and I didn't know that until I was 37 years old.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever place he was sitting as a father.
No, but he was my father.
Yeah.
He is my father to this day because that was the man that was there that raised me.
I just want to re-emphasize the part about the love.
Yeah, absolutely.
And men expressing that to the young men in a positive way.
And I think it did create a disconnect.
Yeah.
I think it did.
Right.
Real talk. Because I don't know. I just felt like he was angry with me all the time. You know what I mean? I honestly, God, I felt like he was angry with me for everything.
Kind of like it was hard to please him?
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm doing everything you asked me to do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But, you know.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to open the wounds. But, brother, I know y'all come from that same kind of background, you know. But one thing, when I look at our youth, and I don't like the term troubled youth. I don't really like that term.
I don't either.
I think people are reacting to the environment that a lot of young men, you may see anger come out of them. You may see some almost disrespect come out of them.
Yes.
It's like a knee-jerk reaction to the environment that they're coming up in, right? So when I see those type of people, they really never. It's all been about mama, right? Mama is stressing because mama's trying to be. She's a woman, you know. If daddy's not there, that's what I'm saying. If daddy's not in the household, because that's the most common situation I run into.
Yes, sir.
It may not, like I said, it's not 100, it's not 90%, but it is the larger percent.
Yes, it is.
And every time that there's not a positive man there, I can always see that disconnect in the child, the male child who has a problem with male authority.
Male authority, yes, sir.
And so that to me, that grows into something that can be dangerous in society today, because the disrespect for male authority, whether it's white, black, or whatever, but it's that male authority. So I want to get kind of down to the root of the cause, and being that we have our hands right here on the pulse of the situation. What you think about that?
That was going to be my second example.
There you go.
This happened today. earlier today at my 12-year-old football game. There was a young man that was being disrespectful to the coaches, 10 years old. And he didn't want to do what he was told. Okay, they called me over. I'm always the one that can...
The peacemaker, you get there. Yes, you are.
So,
I've seen you do it many times.
So I get over here, and he shut down for whatever reason. I don't know what I walked into, but he shut down. Mm-hmm. And I'm, come over and talk to him. He doesn't want to talk. And the first thing that come out of his mouth was profanity.
Right.
Wow, 10 years old. My first question, have I ever spoken to you that way? Mm-hmm. So I'm not yelling at him. I'm not, because that's not gonna fix the situation. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get through to him in a calm manner. Mm-hmm. And okay, so you don't want to discuss with me? That's fine. Go ahead and take your equipment off. You're not playing today. So now it gets worse because now his pride is hurting. Mm-hmm. You're gonna stop me from playing football? Well, you're not explaining to me what's going on. You're shut down. You're not talking to anybody. You're not expressing yourself. Mm-hmm. You're shut down. I just need to know what's going on. That's right. Again, more profanity. I don't talk to you that way. Please refrain. You got a lot of words that's coming out your face. I know you have more words in your mind. Your vocabulary is a little bit better than what you're expressing right now. You gonna stop this 10-year-old from playing football? No, sir. You're stopping yourself. Mm-hmm. Accountability.
Right.
Accountability. That's what I'm trying to instill in him. Mm-hmm. You're not playing today, sir. Mm-hmm. I'm playing. No, sir. You're not playing. Never changed my demeanor. Matter of fact, this kid's he rides with me to and from everywhere. One of the boys that ride with me. Well, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take you home because you're not playing. Well, if I'm not playing, my brother's not playing. You make that decision for your older brother. I do. Okay, we'll see. I don't leave. I'll take his equipment, put it in the car. He breaks down in tears. Part of it is because he doesn't know the words to say. He don't know what to say. He doesn't know how. Like, I'm not going to put hands on you. I'm not going to do that. I want you to understand your actions are the reason you're not playing today. Eventually he calms down. He didn't play. He thought he was going to play.
Right.
He didn't play. That's that disciplinary side of me. You cannot play today, sir. I have to shut you down. Because if I don't, you won't learn from this mistake. And accept responsibility for your actions.
Right.
So on the ride home, he apologized. I accept your apology, but it's not the answer. In that moment, I need you to see where you are. And that's the only way we're going to get them to the young people to actually be better, is they have to be accountable for their actions. And they have to be held accountable. And that's that discipline side of it.
That's right. Anyway, when you're talking about accountability, and that's one of the next things I was actually going to talk about, how important that is. And when you're dealing with a child that's coming from brokenness, because I simply call it brokenness.
That's what it is.
I understand what brokenness is. I came from brokenness.
Absolutely.
So I kind of love on my kids kind of hard because of it,
Yes, sir.
And I know what you're saying about how you love on your kids. I don't have a problem with telling them I love them or anything like that. But now there's an accountability, because every person that may be in the position of leadership and in the community may lack accountability themselves.
This is true.
So what I want to say, the example you gave with the young man, that's a great example on how to handle an aggressive, misled young person.
Yes, sir.
Not just beat them down with words and not just assert your authority over them, but not a demand, but make them be held accountable for their actions.
Yes.
Stand on your word, like you didn't let him play, but at the same time, you didn't abuse him with words, you didn't physically put your hands on him. And now, what we do have, and we got to discuss, some people that are in the community, and we got to deal with these people.
Yes.
Some in our community, they're coming from that kind of brokenness, and they're exerting and they're displaying that same brokenness,
creating the cycle,
they're being part of the cycle.
Exactly. The cycle.
So instead of taking the approach you did, which was a firm approach, but it wasn't an abusive approach, some of them just take the abusive approach. And to me, when I see that, I'd be this far from wanting to go jump into the situation, man. But it's a lesson, and I always pull my children aside, and that's not the way that person should be coaching.
Yep.
He's doing something wrong. He's doing this for himself. He's not doing it for the love of the children, or he's not trying to give something back positive.
That's right.
It's only negative. So when you run into those people, I have many times.
All the time.
And
all the time, especially at youth football.
Yeah, and I know. So when I run into those kind of people, my heart goes out to the children that are under them. Could you imagine what these children are going? And I've seen it, man. Like I said, the last year when my son didn't play with you, I had to pull him off that team, and he wanted to come back to you, right? And I said, well, we're going to do that. You know, it was the worst decision I made concerning coaching. But now, people like that, when you run into them from your perspective, right? How do you handle it, and how do you identify it? And if there's any possibility of saving a child from that, being exposed to that, what do you feel about that, sir?
Well, organizations, leagues have to do better as far as policing.
Yeah.
Because that is not just because that was how your coach coached you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the coach that coached you that way was a high school coach. Your brain can deal with that a little bit better when you're a teenager. But when you're sub 10 years old, sub 12 years old, your brain don't know how to take what's being told to you. You know, the actions. It is coaches like myself, parents.
Right.
It's our responsibility to address that. We don't have to be on that other coach's level and stoop down and yell and argue and belittle people, or get to their level and create conflict.
Right.
You know, there's a conflict resolution path that we need to take. For me, what I'll do is I'll pull the coach to the side. Hey, this is a child's game. There's no need to be that aggressive. Because 90% of the time when that coach is that aggressive, only thing in his mind is winning.
Right.
The only thing in that coach's mind is winning. It's not the development. And that's when we lose players, period. I won't say young men, because the young ladies play the game now too. We lose players, period.
Right.
Because of that. You have a kid that loves football for whatever reason. By the time they get to middle school and high school, they're burnt out because of what they had to deal with. So, again, leagues, other coaches, we have to police it.
Right.
I mean, we've had it within my organization, where I'm trying to coach my younger coaches to not be that way. Trying to set an example for my young coaches to do better. You know, one of our coaches that coached Isaiah, I felt he was a little too aggressive at times, and I had to bring him down. I don't know if you recall, I'd have to go, hey, come over here.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Come on over here. We don't. I mean, I want you to be competitive. I do. I want you to be competitive, but there's a way to do it. You can be competitive. You can be a disciplinarian, but still be a good coach and compassionate towards your players.
Right.
And that was one thing I never doubted was the love that he had for his players. It was his approach.
Right.
It was his approach.
Right.
So I want to say veteran or more mature coaches like myself, bringing the young guys in, we have to take them under our wing and groom them better as well.
Right. And that sounds like a brilliant solution, because, you know, sometimes we can't just throw the problem out there. We have to say, okay, what's the solution to the problem?
Absolutely.
One of the last things I want to, before we wrap this thing up, man, and I really appreciate you for your time. I know you had a game out here today. You took the time out to come sit down with the Tank Commander, man.
That's right, man. I got all kind of loves with Coach Ray.
Yeah, man. I want to talk one thing that I believe that's important with the within the fabric of family.
Yes, sir.
Because all of this goes back to the brokenness of family and the ability to try our best to repair
Yes, sir.
family as much as we can from whatever angle we're at. Being a coach, just being a positive man or being a positive influence in a young man's life, some things they will never forget.
True.
When I was young, coming from a broken home, it was some of the nice things that maybe a wino said to me, man. Gave me some encouragement, really.
Absolutely.
That when there was nothing else there, I was able to gravitate and hold on to that. So I know that these kids, whether they don't like it or not, maybe I got them doing suicides.
Yeah.
Because got doing push-ups. but they don't forget that
That's
later on
absolutely.
down in life, right?
Yes, sir.
And one other thing that I feel that connects the family is spirituality.
Yes,
and
sir.
I want to, and I know I'm not talking about everybody's going to church every Sunday or nothing like that. I'm not talking about that.
Yes, sir.
But I am talking about a true connection with God.
Yes, sir.
And one that, as a male,
Yes, sir.
you're able to pass down to your family, your sons and daughters.
Yes, sir.
That kind of holds the fabric of the family together. You can teach moral principles, and things like that, and those have much value.
Yes, sir.
But spirituality kind of locks things in.
It does.
You know,
It does wrap it up.
And one thing I try to pass on, not sometimes not necessarily direct all the time, but indirectly.
Yes, sir.
That it is important for a young man to have a spiritual life. As you get older, you may not understand everything now, but as you get older, the repetitiveness of hearing positive males say spirituality is important.
It is.
Spirituality is important.
It is.
So and that's one thing I try to pass on. I know I pass it on to my sons, and they know that from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your opinion and your possible approach on that? And just on your opinion on spirituality, passing it down. And what's your approach, whether it's direct or indirect?
Mine is more indirect because I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
I was born and raised Islam. My parents were in a lot. Let's just say that. So Fridays and Sundays, I was at Juma or Talim. That's basically church with my parents, and I didn't force it on my boys, although they understand because early I leave them there.
Right.
It is up to them to stay there once they're of age, right? So I had the help of my parents with that as well, leading my boys. So it is extremely important to have a belief in something greater than yourself.
Right. That's what I'm getting to.
And whether that is Jesus, Allah, or Jewish, I can't think of the name. I'm sorry. Any of them.
Yeah.
Whatever that belief
right.
is, it's belief in a higher power, right? And that also creates a structure. And it just believing that there's a heaven or hell, and that you go to one place or another based on your actions here, or if you believe that heaven is here, that's another belief. But whatever that is, I want to make sure that I pass a true belief that there is something greater than us, and that we are responsible. We do have to bow down, and humble ourselves in front of their presence. So I try to put that in front of our boys, and I don't know if if Isaiah asks Isaiah, I tell him every day at practice, at the end of practice, when I'm talking, right now I'm that greater power. And if I feel like if you're standing up while I'm talking to you, you're challenging me. So you are on a knee.
right.
You ask Isaiah, it's like, I might be short.
Right.
You might be taller than me. But you are going to be on a knee and respect what this is. Whether it's church or football or Christianity, whatever it is.
Right.
You have a belief in something, and that spirituality does guide you hopefully on the right path. And I try to make sure that I'm making the boys understand that there is something greater.
Right. That's a very positive step. And once again, I strongly believe in spirituality.
Yes,
I don't really like the word Christian or Christianity.
Absolutely.
I am a part of the body of Christ.
Yes, sir.
And that's the way I look at it. I look at it kind of the same way that you do. I do teach the principles of Christ in my home.
Yes, sir.
And I believe, and I've seen the effect of it in my children, in their growth. What it's done with them when they didn't have the human answers to things, that
Yes, sir.
It's something when God said, not God, but my son come up, like my oldest son holding the camera there, he's had experiences with that, and we had to talk about it, and I said, we do what we need to do here, but you have to pray and ask God to give you the right kind of direction and guidance, and he'd call me, Dad, God showed up, and by him just saying that, man, it just opens my heart up, and I'm thankful for it, because I know that if God take my life today, that he knows how to stand as a man now. You love mama, you love daddy, but you're gonna have to know how to stand on your own, and you run out.
Yes,
you
sir.
get tired, you get sick, you get all these things, so you do have to have that belief in that greater power and that connection and spirituality.
Yes,
And I do want to applaud you, sir, once again, for being an outstanding man, brother. And what I've observed you for 4 years, your character is impeccable. It's worthy of imitation as a man, and particularly as a black man in the community. So I'm gonna salute you on that, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate. I'm gonna salute
Yes,
back.
sir, man.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
I want to go ahead and before we wrap this up, once again, Abdullah Dawud.
Yes, sir.
My man, we call him Coach Dawud.
Yes, sir.
One of the brothers that's in the community, giving his time, his effort. He's even given his financial portion to pour back into the community. Every real man, at whatever level you are at, you should make an opportunity to pour back positively into the community. Not just expect the community to represent you when you're not representing it. So it starts with men like this, men that's in the community. Like I myself was a frontline soldier. This is a frontline soldier in here with the troops. So we salute him. And this is what the Real Man movement is all about. Real men, like Coach Abdullah here, doing what he should do in the community to the best of his abilities. And with that, brother, I want you to give out, you want to give out any social media about what you're doing and how to follow you?
KC Dogs at Facebook and at what's the other one? Twitter. We got Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. KC Dogs. That's KC.
I'll make sure I put it in the description.
DAWGS. KC Dogs. We've been around since 2008. We're not going anywhere. We're here.
That's
we're
right.
here for the long haul.
And they stamped by the Tank Commander. Trust me, listen, this is the best place to put your child if you want them to grow. Not just win football games or for the coaches, but to really grow spiritually and be nurtured as young men supposed to be. So with that, brother, once again, man, thank you for your time, Coach. Salute.
Thank you.
Tank Commander Zulu signing out. All right, brother. Thank you, brother.
I know. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome.
Hey, man.